Coming up on 5 Minute News. Trump hopes biased Supreme Court will protect his espionage woes. Joe Biden announces new guidelines to protect abortion and contraception rights. And Elon Musk is back in the spotlight, hoping to buy Twitter. It's Wednesday, October 5. I'm Anthony Davis. The former President Donald Trump has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to step into the legal fight over the classified documents seized during an FBI search of his Florida estate, escalating a dispute over the powers of an independent arbiter appointed to inspect the records by Trump himself. Trump lawyers asked the justices to overturn a lower court ruling and allow the arbiter, called a special master, to review the roughly 100 documents with classified markings that were taken in the August 8 search of Mar-a-Lago. A 3-judge panel from the Atlanta-based U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit last month limited the special master's review to the much larger collection of non-classified documents. The judges, including 2 Trump appointees, sided with the Justice Department, which had argued there was no legal basis for the special master to conduct his own review of the classified documents. But Trump's lawyers said in their application to the Supreme Court that it was essential for the special master to have access to the classified records to determine whether documents bearing classification markings are in fact classified, and regardless of classification, whether those records are personal records or presidential records. It says without the special master review, the unchallenged views of the current Justice Department would supersede the established authority of the chief executive. An independent review, the Trump team says, ensures a transparent process that provides much-needed oversight. Trump lawyers submitted the Supreme Court application to the far-right Justice Clarence Thomas, who oversees emergency matters from Florida and several other southern states. Thomas has previously come under scrutiny for his vote in a different Trump documents case, in which he was the only member of the court to vote against allowing the U.S. House committee investigating January 6 to obtain Trump records held by the National Archives and Records Administration. Justice Thomas is also married to the far-right extremist conspiracy theorist Ginny Thomas. President Joe Biden and top White House officials announced new guidelines and grants to protect abortion and contraception rights on Tuesday and said women's rights have already been curtailed since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade 100 days ago. Speaking at a meeting of the Reproductive Rights Task Force with Vice President Kamala Harris, Biden said the decision that had rescinded women's constitutional right to an abortion has had frightening ripple effects in some states, including restricting a teen's access to medicine she needed for arthritis. "We're not going to sit by and let Republicans throughout the country enact extreme policies," he said. Abortion bans have gone into effect in more than a dozen Republican states since the court overturned the 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling on June 24th. Nearly 30 million women of reproductive age now live in a state with a ban, including nearly 22 million women who cannot access abortion care after 6 weeks. Biden's meeting, held with doctors, lawmakers, and White House officials, focused on how millions of women cannot access abortion services, face shrinking access to contraception, and how doctors and nurses are facing criminal penalties for providing abortions. The Supreme Court decision created a healthcare crisis in America, Harris said. What we are seeing in laws around our country is the criminalization of doctors and healthcare providers, she said, noting some states had reverted to abortion laws put in place before women even had the right to vote. The tumultuous saga of Elon Musk's on-again, off-again purchase of Twitter took a turn toward a conclusion yesterday after the mercurial Tesla CEO proposed to buy the company at the originally agreed-on price of $44 billion. Musk made the surprising turnaround not on Twitter, as has been his custom, but in a letter to Twitter that the company disclosed in a filing yesterday with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. It came less than 2 weeks before a trial between the two parties is scheduled to start in Delaware. In response, Twitter said it intends to close the transaction at $54.20 per share after receiving the letter from Musk. But the company stopped short of saying it's dropping its lawsuit against the billionaire Tesla CEO. Experts said that makes sense given the contentious relationship and lack of trust between the two parties. Trading in Twitter stock, which had been halted for much of the day pending release of the news, resumed trading late Tuesday and soared 22% to close at $52. Musk's proposal is the latest twist in a high-profile saga involving the world's richest man and one of the most influential social media platforms. While some logistical and legal hurdles remain, Musk could be in charge of Twitter in a matter of days, however long it takes him and his co-investors to line up the cash, said Ann Lipton, an associate law professor at Tulane University. A letter from Musk's lawyer dated Monday and disclosed by Twitter said Musk would close the merger signed in April, provided that the Delaware Chancery Court enter an immediate stay of Twitter's lawsuit against him and adjourn the trial scheduled to start on October 17. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.